Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of your boys from the Papertrails podcast. I'm Shamaki. Got my co-host here, Mohammed.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do that bloody boy band thing again.
What you say your name?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Inspire the hosts of the Papertrails podcast. I'm your boy Shamaki with my boy
Mohammed.
Where did you get a boy band thing,
man. Told you that one TikTok.
Nah, yeah, I know.
That one TikTok. You just stopped. I was like, oh god, I gotta pick it up now.
Nah, I mean, yo, sometimes
next year I was dance. You gotta have the moves together, god damn.
Nah, but listen.
Oh, man. What you do next? You do that, and then you do it.
If we must, man. If we gotta sell, we're selling, man.
God damn.
We gotta sell our bodies, no problem.
Whoa.
That's what we eat. But nah, so yeah, your boys Shamaki, Mohammed.
Yes, sir.
And today we have a very interesting episode. We got a very good episode for you guys because this year is it's a fresh start, and it being a fresh start, what people need is a lot more productivity in their lives. And when I say people, I mean me, myself. You're right there. You're always flipping.
We recorded the episode talking about how you're sick of the productivity gurus.
No, but I'm sick of those productivity
man. What people need.
What people need is productivity, but they need it in that nice aesthetic kind of way.
Oh, mate, coffee almost came out my nose there.
Which is, what we're trying to provide over here, just
aesthetic productivity. That's where we're going.
Aesthetic productivity. You know what I mean? Okay. We're not trying to be like, wake your ass up at 4 a.m. and, make some bread and you don't know how. You just woke up.
Make your bread. Oh.
You know what I mean?
Now you're going aesthetic, but you're actually making bread.
Yeah, damn right.
Coffee along with some matcha along the way.
You know where they need the dough and they massage it and all that kind of stuff. All right, say less. So that's what we're looking to do. And so one of the books that we picked up very recently, because you dropped it, was Ali Abdaal. And Ali Abdaal has been someone that I've been watching for a minute on YouTube, actually. Mainly because there's a weird calmness in his voice.
That's true.
That allows you know what? Actually, he's a good face of aesthetic productivity.
True. It's true.
It's that productivity guru essentially that isn't in your face, like holding you by the
being
scalp.
Aggressive about.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Run 10 kilometers this morning, man.
Yeah, he's pushing you in and he's giving like actual steps in how to kind of do it. And sometimes I'm like, damn, he's doing this for free. But this time he's not doing it for free because he's done it in a book.
You want to say who he is first? So he's a YouTuber.
He's a
big YouTuber.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a long time. So before he used to do videos about uni, like how to study better. I think, was it Oxford or Cambridge? Which one?
Cambridge,
yeah. So he's like Cambridge med student or something like that. So he's like serious credentials, and like he's built like companies for education and stuff. And so he's been in YouTube for years, like doing it big. And I feel like a lot of people tuned into him for the education side of things, like how to study better. A lot of people like that stuff. Yeah, and then he's definitely got that lo-fi vibe that we talked about.
He does.
And like then he did like tech reviews, and then he also did like productivity book reviews, basically, where he like broke down books and then talked about them a bit. Last season we talked about Unfair Advantage with the author and he's one of that was like. I got inspired to read that book because of Ali Abdaal's
same.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so now he's released his book, which is called Feel Good Productivity. And that's again on the same brand of this new way of aesthetic productivity.
Yeah, we're coining that term.
That's right, we're coining it, which is essentially you doing what you want to do, but coating it with good feelings that this sounds, we'll break it down more, but that's the broken down version of it. Of like you doing your thing, but enjoying it along the way, rather than just kind of being like, oh damn, I have to grind again, I have to grind again. And eventually you get burnt out, and then you're like, is this even what I really want to be doing?
You know that meme of that boy that just gets wake up? I don't know if it's scared straight, but it's that meme of that boy. It's like that black kid, like he gets like woke up like roughly, and then he like grabs his blanket. And he's like,
nah.
That's what like when I hear the word productivity, that's what it reminds me of now.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, I can imagine
it
up
on the screen.
But
this is definitely like, hey, like take your time, wake up slowly.
Yeah, I mean, we're combing your hair while you wake up. That's what we do. Brush your hair, getting you ready, and then in your own time, but obviously in some time, you get up and you finally decide to go after your dreams. And this year, that's what the motive is, you know, that's what we're on, you know, chasing after what you want and feeling good about it. But yeah, so when he said that he was releasing a book and he's been writing about it for time, I was actually kind of looking forward to it, to be fair, because I wanted, because I liked his kind of the style of doing it, especially his YouTube videos, because it was very concise, it was quite to the point. It wasn't overextended, and it was just, you know what I mean? So I thought, you know what, the book, it didn't really look like a big book either, even though I read it and listened to it on Audible. I felt like, okay, cool, this is something that I could, and to be fair, I finished it in a day.
That's a bit of you, huh?
Huh?
It's a lovely bit of you, yeah?
Oh, mate, there was we'll get into it, but there was one section in the book that was pretty much everything that I kind of needed.
Yeah, it's funny because for me, like I've kind of, because I watched him for some time, like a couple of years, and I stopped resonating with him because, like, I felt like it got to a point where it was too much, where every single video was talking about productivity. Like, obviously, like Shark said, in that take it easy, just pick up some habits from this book and then incorporate it in your life. So it wasn't like forced, like he doesn't, like, he talks about productivity and habit building and just getting, like, going up in life in a relaxed way that like that isn't too forced, or like get up at 5 a.m.
Damn right,
eat 6 raw eggs, and like
wild stuff.
Guys in prison are getting big. And what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
I said that to Sharks the other day, I can't lie, but
they have nothing to do.
Yeah,
what the hell? If I went in there and I didn't come out big, that's when. That's what it's by choice,
that's when
man.
you got issues, yeah. God damn, what were you doing in there? Reading books?
That's what I'm saying.
But like I kind of got disenchanted with some of that, so I kind of got bored of his content, so I just moved away from it. But then I saw, like, he was releasing the book, and then I think Hassan Kuba actually said that he was talking about Ali Abdaal was writing a book and he's just coaching him in that, and that was from the interview he did last season with Hassan Kuba, the author of Unfair Advantage. So go check it out. But,
right. He said it 3 times.
Yeah, come on, man. Got market it.
You don't say it all the time.
Marketing. But yeah, then I saw he released the book. I was like, you know what? New year might be a good way to start the year. And because I saw the title, it pulled me in. Feel good productivity.
That's what I'm saying.
Might be an oxymoron.
Damn right.
But, you know, we got to give it a try.
Yeah.
So, like, picking it up, like, it was quite a pleasant surprise to see. Like, it wasn't just talking about, like, improving how you do things in terms of the process and, like, just being more positive about it. He was very practical about the whole thing. And I that's what I've always appreciated. For me, any good productivity book has to be practical.
Yeah, man.
Which is a bit, it's not annoying, but it's a bit, like, tedious, because then you can't just read it and move on.
No, of course.
You can't just absorb the knowledge. I mean,
you can't always just be like, you have to get what you want.
Yeah, you got to actually start applying.
I know I have to get what I want, man. That's why I'm reading this.
Yeah, like one of the first books that I've read, I think it was Atomic Habits, but that actually had practical things. Was it good Atomic Habits? I don't remember, but
Atomic Habits had a lot of practical things. Especially small changes that you can make.
So like I started resonating a lot with that kind of stuff, but then it also started becoming a bit too much because I was inputting so many sources in my head about what kind of practices I should be applying, you know. But in this book, I feel like he's given, like, he labeled them as experiments, where he was like saying this is experiment, but he's literally talking about, like, different styles of habit building and different types of productivity. So, like, he's encapsulating productivity as a whole in life, in, like, whether it's your mind, body, or spirit, like he said, something like that. And, like, your career, your relationships, like, it's encapsulating, like, your whole life with that. So it's not just about, like, just building your health or just building your business. So he's done it in a very holistic way, and I kind of enjoyed that aspect. I like that he used, like, so many different case studies that were actually interesting, not just like boring case studies. Like a couple times when he's like, 5 mice or like 5 rats were like given the same thing to do, and then they changed something, and then the rats became stressed, and then rats laughter and stuff like that. Like they gave him, like, serotonin. He made that interesting, you know, and I didn't give that to him before when he was like doing his YouTube videos. I felt like he was a bit of a, like, very analytical, scientific mind that wasn't too creative around storytelling. So I feel like in this book, he's really improved on that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Whatever assistance he had, maybe he did it all by himself. I don't know, but in terms of presenting it on the book, like he was a lot more creative than I've seen in his YouTube videos. He was a lot more like like he had a lot more storytelling experience.
Man.
So I enjoyed that aspect of it. I think any book that's gonna stick, you have to be good at storytelling. And
that's how you carry a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially a book can sometimes be a bit tedious because you're essentially having to do everything. Yeah.
Even if it's short, even if it's a 200-page productivity book.
Yeah.
Like that. The pages start dragging.
They start dragging, yeah. You'd be like, I'll pick this up later.
Especially when it's like they want you to apply things, but they've told the stories in a kind of boring way.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, like sometimes a lot, the formula, I've talked about this with our friend Shoaib, who was on the podcast last season. The formula for productivity works is usually, here's my point, here's case study, and this is why you should do it. And these are the habits you should implement based on these case studies. And like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But in this one, he kind of, every case study had a reasoning behind it.
Absolutely.
And he talked about different ways that you can incorporate each productivity method. He didn't just talk about this is the way.
Yeah.
He talked about how you might suit you, how it might suit you.
Of course, yeah. And you know what also sold me as well is, like I said, we really like stories on the Papertrails podcast, you know what I mean? And I think it was, I kind of bought into his story as well, that he was saying in the beginning that he was working at the NHS and it was grueling and he wasn't really feeling it, and then he basically decided, you know what, let me change. He was talking about one Christmas like holiday thing that he was working in, and it was like hella tough.
And on Christmas Day he forgot to put leave.
He forgot to put leave, and he had to go through it. And then after that he was just kind of like, okay, so how does one go about doing what you have to do, but finding a way to make that interesting for yourself, making it fun for yourself and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I mean, we don't have to necessarily go through the grueling stuff of the NHS, but we still have work. You know what I mean?
Everyone's got that.
Everyone's got something, you know? So it's about like kind of how do you bring that work-life balance with creativity, which is something that I've been actually thinking of a lot, you know? It's kind of like, okay, the moment you leave work, like he was even kind of saying, it'd be like, I can't be asked to film a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So then one of the points that he was talking about was creating an environment in which
you enjoy the process.
You can enjoy it and you can actually do it. So for example, he would do is instead of like packing up all the studio stuff, he would put it next to his desktop.
Reducing friction.
So then he can easily, you know, record.
Yeah.
I think he was even saying that at one point. He was like, putting up the whole photo,
green screen stuff and
the lights and sorting everything out, it just makes it long to record a video. Rather than just having it all there and you just press record and then you're good to go. Reduces the friction by a lot, and then suddenly now you're able to do it. Or so he was like, if you have homework, to put it on like either on the desk that you usually work at, or you put it on a table in front of you where like, you know, your TV would be or whatever. So then you see it, you're like, oh, you know what? It's right here. I can just get it kind of done. And that was something that I proper resonated.
You know what's funny with
Change
me?
your environment.
Because I've consumed a lot of his content before, and I've like consumed a lot of self-help content. Like a lot of this wasn't new to me. So I was reading it. I was like, I know who this could apply to. I was thinking of like particular friends. Like I was like, yo, this could. I actually ended up buying the physical copy because I was like, let me just get this for a friend of mine that I think
who's the friend?
Oh, you know, it's
we're allowed to. Does he begin with B?
Yeah. I messaged him and I said, yo, this is exactly what you need, brother.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because there was like,
it does.
Like when you read the concepts, I was like, this guy needs this, and this. He just ticked off all the. So I recommended like self-help books to friends before, but like they didn't. I feel like they didn't cover like the range of things that he's covered in this book.
But I also feel like self-help books from people that aren't in the kind of
of course
this world,
people are just gonna pick it up and read it. That's why I feel like with this one it can kind of translate to. People, and I told our friend Shoaib, I was like, we read this book recently and I actually liked it, and he had said the same thing as me, where like I was like, oh, I'm sick of Ali Abdaal in it, like in his content, because it feels kind of repetitive. But in this book, I would say He like covered a range of topics.
Yeah.
I feel like at some points it was a bit contradictory, but then he would then go and cover the contradicting points a bit later on. Like if I give an example, let me find it.
I mean, I didn't find anything contradictory.
Like for example, nice. Yeah. His methodology around nice goals.
Oh, okay,
I like that because like I've grown up. Like my whole career, like specifically my career, like we do like performance reviews every year.
Yeah.
So like every year they'll say go and make smart goals. Yeah, like smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Yeah. The fact that I memorized that is pissing me off. Yeah. So then I read the nice thing. I was like, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's nice that you labeled it that way as well. Where nice means near term, so it's got to be like a short term goal, daily or weekly, input based. That's something I've been working on in the last year. So I've really realized that output based goals is where I like spent the last 10 years focused on, where I'm like, I want to achieve this and this and this. These are the outputs.
Yeah.
And like that's quite a negative thing to actually do, like continuously, because you'll never feel like you've achieved anything.
Yeah, especially if you haven't reached anywhere close.
So I've always like struggled with smart goals and output goals, and but I've always still focused my life on that. So like in the last year or so, I'd already started thinking about input goals more than output goals. So he talks about that, and then controllable, within our control, so making it realistic.
Yeah.
So that's where I found it a bit contradictory. But then he went ahead and readdressed it afterwards. Right after he spoke about nice goals. So near-term, input-based, controllable, energizing. Is there a way to integrate play, make it more fun, integrate confidence, and bring in collaboration with other people in there? Because that's different ways of energizing something. And then after that, he spoke about time blocking. And then he was like, block time out in your diary to do specific things and make sure you stick to those time. Yeah. So I was thinking, how's that... like the second point, the third point, controllable. Yeah. Because I was like, a lot of time-bound stuff isn't controllable.
Yeah, that's true.
But then later on, he went ahead and readdressed that. So he just talked about how, like, make sure you say no to a lot of things. Like, if you're going to say no to something tomorrow, it's unlikely that you're going to have time to go ahead and say yes to that in 1 month's time, you know? And like, that's something I've always struggled with. Like I'll tell someone, I can't do it right now, but maybe in 1 month I'll commit to it. And then I'll give them that verbal agreement.
Yeah. And then the time comes.
And 1 month flew by. And I'm like, yo,
I got to do it.
I got to do it. And I've already committed to it. And then I feel like a bad person if I go and say I can't do it anymore, or I go and do it and it's crappy. And I'm just stressing myself out. So like he kind of like addressed a lot of the points that I thought were contradictory on that. So yeah, man, I really enjoyed the book, man, honestly.
Nah, I mean, to be fair, I think the part that
I feel like it's gonna be more transformative for you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why this specifically was more resonating with me. I think because I have read a lot of self-help books, especially on the podcast, for the podcast. But I think maybe it was because of the association I had with Ali Abdaal in terms of like sometimes after work, I'll just put it on the TV, YouTube, I'll just be banging it out because it kind of, like I said, it has that aesthetic productivity kind of vibe, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll just listen to this and then I'll just, you know what I mean, it make me feel a bit better. So then I think, but it was there was a part in the middle, so he kind of broke down the book into the first stages was, let me actually just get it out to make it easier, because the way he done it in
chapters, you mean?
Yeah, but like he had like little chapters that were broken down in like 3 overall things. So the first one was energize. So how to get yourself energized and get the productivity going. Yeah. The unblock, and then the sustain. The unblock is obviously like if you feel like you can't do it, how to get out of that. And then the last part, the sustain part, which is how to conserve yourself to not get, you know,
continue the momentum, but don't burn out.
This and that and whatnot. So it was the unblock part that
you feel like you struggled with.
Yeah, man. It was the getting over the thing. And when he was talking about,
so I'll tell you something interesting.
Yeah, go for it.
I just watched. Have you ever heard of Good Will Hunting, the film?
Is it the thing with Matt Damon and that?
Matt Damon, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I watched that literally 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I wasn't feeling it at all, because it was just like, it was like some Higgy Hagger. Like it was just, I felt like it was a bit rushed in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then Robin Williams gets introduced like half an hour into the film.
Yeah.
And he just starts spitting non-stop.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like he's a therapist. Robin Williams is a therapist in the film for Matt Damon, basically.
Okay.
And Matt Damon, like in the beginning, he's just like some janitor working in Harvard, like in MIT, I think. So like where like all the like science and technology research is being done, and all the students are learning all that stuff. So like really high quality, high level, intelligent students are studying there. But like the maths professor there is like writing up theorems and stuff, and like writing up exercises that the students have to finish. And then I'm not spoiling anything because in the actual description of the film, and I read it before, it literally says this. And then
the actual description.
Yeah, and then Matt Damon, he's a janitor there. And he's a young guy. He like the professor puts something on a whiteboard outside and says, "Whoever solves this, I'll give them recognition." He didn't even say a prize.
Yeah,
like everyone's just gonna like, I'm gonna rate this guy, and basically. And then the next day, everyone's having a get together and whatnot, and they're like, students come up to him, the professor, and they're like, "Oh, so did you like did the person who completed the theorem come up to you and speak to you about it?" And he's like, "What? It's complete." Yeah, like because he set it up the night before or something, so he was thinking, "No way,
no one's gonna do it."
But then it turns out like he didn't figure out who it was, and then a couple nights later, he dropped a couple more theorems, and like they get solved a couple times as well. Yeah, and then he catches the guy doing it, and he's like, "Hey, yo, like, stop graffitiing on the whiteboard." And he thought he was just like mucking about with it because in the public area. And then he chases him. Yeah, and Matt Damon just like some stereotypical like Boston like riffraff basically. Hey man, what the fuck you want? I don't want to swear in it, but like he literally tells him like F off or whatever. Yeah, and then he catches up. Like the professor finds out who he is, and then he meets up with him when he just finds out that the guy's just ridiculously bad man, didn't it? Like Matt Damon he's just a bad kid, didn't it? Basically, and then he takes him to a therapy, like takes him to like 10 therapists, and like Matt Damon just like pisses them all off. Basically,
so he's just the janitor. He doesn't actually study there.
Yeah,
but he's like hella smart.
Yeah, and then he's just basically a natural genius. Yeah, and then the therapist comes to him and like breaks everything down with him, and like he talks about his fears and stuff. Like that's when like Robin Williams, like as a therapist, like, he was like insanely good acting.
Yeah, to be fair, I've only seen little bits and pieces of just the Robin Williams.
I was going to talk about this in the next episode. I was going to talk about what you call it,
stuff you've been watching.
But like, that therapist part of it, and then this book talking about fear. I feel like over the years, like that's one of my biggest blocking issues: fear of being seen as not that skilled, fear of like imposter syndrome, fear of actually dropping stuff and then I might not like it after. Fear of like actually getting involved and like continuously creating stuff and like maybe it won't go somewhere. So like that kind of these are a lot of blockers that I've had to like, actually just get started. So like this kind of like I've had that over the last 6 months or so. Even with my job, because it's very specific to my job. There's like a massive learning element. Well, I'm meant to be senior in my company, right? I'm meant to be pretty senior, like mid-level senior, but more on the senior side. And so I feel like because of that label, I've got to know everything. But there's no way I can know it because like the company is so big and like,
of course,
there's so many different things that are running. There's so many cogs in the wheel. Like it's ridiculous, right? So every time something goes wrong, and I'm like the one responsible to getting it fixed. I feel like I should know this. I should know this. I should know this. But one of the main things that like I keep getting coached into is like, just ask questions. It doesn't matter how senior you feel like you are. It doesn't matter how dumb you might look. Just keep asking questions. And like that's one of the things he talks about in the book. Like uncertainty is like a massive blocker. It is. Like you gotta gain clarity in everything. Like what do we want to do here? Why? So like I kind of that's the part that really resonated with me as well. So like for you, what would it be then? Like more specifically?
I think it did. One of those things was that actually, like literally as you said it, the procrastination, and then that procrastination being something that we get from fear. So the fear of not knowing, the uncertainty, and as you were saying, and one thing that he was kind of saying was how he broke down into how to kind of get out of that, which is maybe what a lot of people are thinking. Maybe you guys want to start something creative. Maybe you want to start a YouTube channel, podcast, whatever it may be. But you're feeling like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe no one will listen. Do I have enough value to exchange? All of this kind of stuff. Will it be good? Will it not? And he goes on to the thing about inertia, which is...
lack of motion.
Lack of motion, yeah. And the idea that everything is in a still position until an external force comes and moves it, right? And that's how essentially it is. I mean, you'll constantly be in that position of uncertainty. You constantly be in a position of, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if I should take this venture.
Yeah.
But you have to physically get yourself out of there by, for example, if you want to do a podcast, by paying for, I was about to say baying.
Somebody jumped out of him.
Just sometimes, man, it comes out.
Bring out a big rice and meat and banana after this.
I've never said bay in my life. I don't know why I was on the podcast I was about to say it. But yeah, so you have to pay for a podcast, pay for the studio, I mean, and then that will force yourself to actually have to make it.
Yeah.
Buying that camera, buying that thing, whatever it may be, to then be like, okay, fine, now I've done this, I have to actually try and make this video.
But I think like the really important thing there, so like I watched I consumed a lot of content about procrastination, why you do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like the main thing, like even last season we talked about Start With Why with the Simon Sinek book. Like if you don't understand why you fear these things and acknowledge the fear, that's where you go wrong as a procrastinator.
No, absolutely.
And that's where you always push things down to the deadline. That's why you always push things off, and like that's why you're just coasting in life and just taking whatever opportunity.
Even like I said, we started this whole podcast because we wanted to be writers. Essentially, we wanted to write a book.
You written anything to say?
To be fair, I have been writing. I realized I was thinking of doing it under a pseudonym.
Okay.
All right. And I feel like that's another thing he was talking about. He was talking about this persona. Characters. And so he was talking about Adele. So one of the examples that he gives is that she had like serious stage fright. So then what she would do is before she would go on, she would impersonate or like tell herself, I'm just going to be, who was it? Beyonce, someone called Sasha that she would impersonate.
Sasha Fierce,
something like that. All the Beyonce fans are like, what? Nah, but so she would impersonate her and then go on stage and be like, well, whatever happens, this isn't on me. It's not a personal thing. This is whatever it is. So sometimes if you're afraid of being on camera, that's just what you might have to do. And so it's like, I feel like with the pseudonym, it would just kind of be not, let's say, for example, if it doesn't work out, then it's not me that's trash. But then again, even those kind of thoughts there are all kind of underlying reasons as to why the book's not been out, because you're just like, this isn't, does the plot make sense? Does this make sense? Blah, blah, blah.
So now you're talking about one of the things where, one of the things you talk about failure, your relationship with failure, it also has to change as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like the structure of the book, that's the only critique I would have of it. I feel like it could be restructured a bit. Because like I feel like the uncertainty stuff and all of that stuff, I feel like that could have been more at the start. Like the unblocking side of things, I feel like that makes more sense to be at the start. From a storytelling perspective.
It was kind of done all right in the sense of...
It was good.
The beginning part, the energizing part of getting you into it, wanting you to feel like you want to do this.
Yeah, do you feel like that just kind of encouraged you to get into the book and like think about it?
Yeah. So now you feel good about potentially starting, let's say writing, and then it's like, okay, but now you're afraid that your writing might not be good. Okay, so now this is how you get out of it.
Yeah.
So now you've been writing you've got out of it, you've been writing for a while, and now you've kind of got this kind of burnout. This is how you recover from it. This is how you sustain yourself kind of thing. So I feel like in the mode of someone creating something, that's kind of how it would, because that's how it is. Like everyone is, before we start anything, we're always gassed, like, this is what we're going to do.
That's a good point.
This is it. Then afterwards, in the middle of it, you're kind of like, that's when the doubts creep in. Is this, because you don't have that instant gratification.
Yeah.
And then...
after the buzz wears off.
After the buzz
carries
wears
you
off.
on after.
Yeah, when you're just sitting back like... God damn.
I'm doing this.
Yeah, when you're just creatively burnt out and you feel like you can't take any direction, every direction's a bad one. How do you sustain that? And then he was making points about LeBron James and.
Yeah, that's when I was like, oh, you reeling me in now.
You reeling me in now, man. You know culture?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But yo, dude,
I feel like he did that on purpose as well.
21 years.
Yeah.
And to still be flipping, like, considered.
At the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was thinking about. Messi, Ronaldo, like, all the top, like, the greatest athletes generally have had very long careers.
Yeah. Because we take that for granted. We just think, we'll just see Ronaldo next year in the Champions League. Yeah,
exactly.
That's not normal.
Like, you even think about Paul Scholes.
Yeah.
Like, that's the lesser known one, but he retired, came back from retirement, won it again.
He won it for us. He was like, now I'm out.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
So good, I had to do it twice.
Yeah.
Then you think about Michael Jordan, he went to the flipping baseball.
Yeah, he came back the game and then wins it.
Yeah, like, that's ridiculous. But like that's where it goes to show like longevity and like momentum.
Yeah,
it also comes from like the point that he was making specifically about LeBron James. So he like basketball is for me. I think basketball are the strongest athletes in the world.
What do you mean by strongest?
Like the most athletic people in the world.
More than American footballers?
More than American footballers. Because American football, they have like 50-man squads, bro.
No, they do.
Furthermore, they have thousands of breaks.
Yeah, every play.
They play, especially in the NBA, they're playing 82 games a season or something across the country, bro.
Yeah.
And the game isn't you're a defender, you're a midfielder, you're an attacker, you're a linebacker, you're a quarterback,
you're running back, you're this,
every man has to defend and attack non-stop. And you're playing against athletic guys where the aim of the game essentially rewards athletic guys, right? Like you can't be flipping. Where's the guy now? Isaiah Thomas, the short point guard. Like he's been struggling to get back into the NBA for years now. He was skilled, and there was a point where he's really doing well, but like athletics like really rewards people in the highest level in basketball. Like Giannis, like that's a ridiculous.
That's specimen,
LeBron James himself. He was a ridiculous athlete from day one to day 28, whatever it is. Into 28, I mean, sorry, whatever it is.
21.
21,
28, yeah.
It's because he's 38 or something, I think.
Yeah,
but like the fact that they're able to do that and like maintain it non-stop, like I think that's like the peak of athleticism for me. And they're playing again. It's not just...
Bro, sometimes they play like back-to-back.
If you see Division 1, like basketballers, and like you see them, like sometimes I just like watch YouTube videos and I'm like, Division 1 basketball, they get challenged by someone from the streets and he just smokes. Like, I'm just like, yeah, man, that's why he's professional.
That's why, right.
Yeah, because people like talk on Twitter and be like, oh, I could do that, I could do that show. And then if you see like the real, the high levels, at the highest level, the stakes. And so, Ali Abdaal was talking about how LeBron James is always like he's not always sprinting non-stop. Neither is Lionel Messi, neither is Cristiano Ronaldo. They conserve their energy for the most crucial moments, but they're always still pushing and still carrying that momentum, and like still pushing their team as well. It's not just something about them as well. So, and like the fact that they're like you think about the best athletes of all time. Like a lot of the times, team-based sports, they're also very good team players, like essential components of those teams.
That make it work.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to also think about your team as well. Like he talks about it a bit as well, like collaborating with people, who empower you as well, but you also empower them. So like he talks about all of this stuff. But like for me, like that was a very important point as well. Like you can't always be pushing forward. You got to know when to say no. But you also have to schedule these things in as well, like blocking time into your calendar for actual breaks, but still coming back and stay in the course, right in your ship. Not just, I'm going to take a break and then the break continues and continues that. Like, you got to be smart about all of this stuff. So I feel like for me, I want to try and incorporate a lot of that side of things into my habit building. Because for me, I don't say, I've become a lot better at it. I don't say no to a lot of things, but I've become a lot better. But I'm not good at blocking time out for breaks. I'm not good at...
That's actually a crucial thing, like actually saying, this is where I'm going to relax. Like, I hardly ever do that. I just kind of think, oh yeah, well, because I'm not doing anything, I'm probably relaxing.
Or because I'm tired.
You're not really relaxing. You're just kind of... You just don't have the energy to kind of do what you want, and that makes you feel bad. So then sometimes when you're like, okay, this day I will... Because I know from myself, like, if I tell myself, okay, I'm just going to chill... that whole time I'm chilling, I'm thinking, okay, when I get back, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And
you're not mentally rested.
You're not mentally kind of rested. But sometimes I kind of need that to energize myself rather than every day just continuously. So even that kind of thing, like I was saying, he doesn't always sprint.
Yeah.
He kind of like, walks more because he has to
conserve his energy.
Yeah, because their seasons are ridiculous, And then they got the playoffs after that stuff. And then, so it was kind of just like that. So I think even with the podcast, like I did a lot in like those kind of 6 months. And then even December, I wouldn't even say I felt like I kind of properly rested because I was just kind of like, I want to do this. And then, but that's kind of like how it is, just kind of still doing your thing, but especially if you've got longer terms for it, kind of not coasting because it has like bad connotations to it, but like getting there rather than just like trying to sprint there. You know what I mean? It's a marathon, not sprint.
Let's talk a bit about the main theme of the book. So we've talked about a lot about the negative things he's addressing, but the fun in doing things.
Yeah.
I think one of the very important things that I've struggled with, you know what's funny? Like my manager always said to me, like, you're better at this than what you think you are. Like my manager literally always telling me, like, you just need to be more confident. And I'm just like, be more confident. Like that's not like something that you can just switch on. But I'm learning, and like he talks about this. Like that's a very important point that he made. He was like doing things with power. So like that means like being confident in yourself. And being confident in the people around you. Like every time you're approaching something, you think about how you're going to do it with fun and how you're going to do it like with confidence. So like that's something that I've always struggled with. I wouldn't say I'm naturally a confident person at all. But especially in my working life, because I'm challenged a lot in my day-to-day job, that confidence dips a lot, So I feel like because of that, like if I'm doing that as a regular job, I feel like that has an impact on my overall self-esteem.
You think that it's just constantly taking a chip?
Like one day I might feel like, I'm very confident. And throughout the day I'm just getting challenged non-stop. And I'm like, getting not my intelligence, but my knowledge question. So that really drops my confidence. And I'm like, well, then it feels like there's so many gaps in my knowledge that I need to address. So obviously that naturally dips my confidence. So he even talks about this as well, like in terms of you've got to put yourself in an environment where you're able to be more confident. Like for me, I've been trying to like pivot out of this career for a while, but I'm also trying to think about, like I said last season, where I'm like every day is a battle where I'm trying to stay positive, right? But there's also a side of me that's like, I don't want to do this, So like I'm still in that state, like every day is a battle. So like in this book, and he talks about that, I'm like, well, how can you do that all the time? Like question, how would I do this with confidence? How would I do this with power? How would I do this with feel good vibes?
Though, I have an interesting kind of thought on that one. I think also if we've grown up around football, right? So I think that's the best analogies I can make to life,
It's football.
So I feel like that's how
football.
all great athletes are made, by being put into those positions where they feel like, okay, my game needs to be better here, my game needs to be this and that, right?
But
let me finish. So like, obviously certain stuff in life might not be so similar one-to-one with football kind of thing. But like funny enough for me, one thing that's kind of helped was back when we used to play football in a place called Kicks, right? And Kicks, for some reason, every flipping kid that was in the academy was going to that session, right?
Like all these kids are playing for Arsenal.
It's ridiculous. And they're like just wearing the kits and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, wait, is everyone buying training kits? Or, oh no, they play for the team. Oh, okay, all right. So we would be in that environment, we would be there. And I remember there was this one character in it that our friend, the one that begins with B, also knows about, and he was wearing like a Real Madrid top, right? And he was like skinny kids, man. And he would batter us, like kick us out of the game, and it was completely different to like the kind of football that we were used to
playing with our friends.
And I remember we was very close in leaving that session. I was like, yo, damn. I remember I was speaking to him and he was like, yo, this is nuts.
That's the time when I was coming into myself,
See, we won. At first we were like, yo, this is crazy. We can kick that out of the game. Like, usually our speed would be everything, but then we actually had to like switch up and
play against more athletic players.
Then as we kind of go into it, as we stayed in that environment, we managed to kind of like progress almost out of that environment. We became a lot better players in that. So in this kind of thing, I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself in not being confident or not knowing, because I feel like you should be here.
Yeah.
Mentally. I should be here by now. But technically you shouldn't just be there by now. You actually have to go through this to then finally become someone that is there right now. You know? It's like almost, it's like exactly a reserve player that is like, why am I not winning a Ballon d'Or right now? I should be winning a Ballon d'Or, but I can't kick 60 yards. You know what I mean?
Is a reserve player, but what if the reserve player is being pushed into the first team in the Champions League game?
Yeah, but that's but still, you gotta, like, you know that you're not gonna be Ronaldo. You're gonna have those.
But let's also say, well, he's a basketballer, but he's not a footballer.
God damn. Well, then you see, the problem comes with the coaching. You shouldn't be in that position.
Yeah, exactly.
But then the thing is, it's kind of like, I think Gary Neville, who kind of plays himself down a bit, he was like, the biggest confidence that Alex Ferguson gave him was by picking him, by putting him in that position. So your manager sees that you're here because you have the right to be 100%. Here. But obviously he's thinking, what the hell? I mean, am I here in Manchester United and all this kind of stuff here, you know? So that's kind of how it is. I think you've probably put a lot more pressure on.
I have 100%. And it's also the fact that, like, I've come from positions where I am the guy.
Yeah.
So it's like coming from a smaller club to a bigger club.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But then you gotta.
But now you're getting told. Now you're getting told we need to take the free kicks and the corners as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You gotta relish those moments. That's what it's all about.
I'm trying to improve on that. Like, I know that I can't be at 100% from the beginning.
Sometimes you might miss all the free kicks, but eventually you start getting them in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that's when you'll be like, that's.
So that's why I've really struggled, but I'm getting there slowly in terms of self-confidence in my workplace. Yeah. But I'm also realizing that this isn't my sport. Yeah. I'll go play the sport that I want to play, you know?
Nah, that's true. That's true. But imagine as well, though. Imagine if...
For this sport pays better too.
Nah, but imagine if there was like, if people on Twitter criticized your work after a 9 to 5 shift. Yeah. You go home, you check your Twitter. God damn, that's a stinky shift, bro.
But that's the thing, you can say that, but
you don't have that though. That's what I'm saying. You have
my management. They won't criticize me. They'll give me constructive criticism. Yeah. But because I respect them, I'm like, yo, these guys are geniuses, innit? Yeah. Because the things that they do, I'm looking at the Messis and LeBrons of this industry. Yeah. The things that they do is ridiculous for me.
Yeah, nah, of course.
But they also put the time in it. I've seen them do like 100-hour work weeks. So I'm trying to I've been 9 to 5 for a long time, and I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that's thinking about work outside of work. So I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do my 40 hours and I'm gonna keep it that way. Yeah. So because I see that, there's a lot of respect that I have for the minute. Yeah, but I'm also like, I don't want to be that guy. So like, I hold them in high regard. So then when I do get criticism from them, whatever, it really hits in it. So that's where the confidence dips in it. Damn, So that's where I feel like that's the Twitter side as well. And like these players, obviously, they don't care about Twitter and all that. But funnily enough, yesterday I saw a footballer, Garnacho, literally yesterday commenting on a tweet because there was some Man City kid that criticized him and then he responded to him. Yeah. This Man City kid, a fan, went into Garnacho's DMs and said, you're crap or whatever, you're arrogant and all this. And Garnacho was like, responded to him and said, "Oh, you're not. What do you call it? Be a human like everyone. You wouldn't say this in front of me, or something like that." And then that guy went and made a TikTok of that DM. Okay, say like, "Oh, look, this is your style, boy."
He cooked it for that.
He responded to me. Yeah. So he's like, he's really enjoying himself there. And then someone posted that onto us, my own and said, look, this is what you're doing this, but in the second you made this, Garnacho is making like 1,000 times more. Of course, And then Garnacho responded to that as well. I was like, these athletes are actually looking at
of course they
massively. That's why it's funny. Of course
they are. Like Kai Havertz, when he has a good game, is retweeting everything. I've seen it. It's all over my timeline. He's retweeting every single thing, liking every single post.
The thing that killed me when you're working in Krispy Kremes, and Kai Havertz, I
served him.
Yeah. I was like, I could tell by the way he plays that guy's eating Krispy Kremes all the time. You know? Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah, and I remember my manager was like, there is no way this kid's got this car. So I was like, what kid? And I turned around. To be fair, I served Tammy Abraham. It's quite a few Chelsea guys that would come there.
Yeah.
And then I checked. I was like, that's not a kid, that's Kai Havertz. And at the time, he just came to Chelsea, so he was this big deal and whatnot. And then I gave him a laced share of dozens.
Laced?
So, yeah, damn right.
Laced with?
That's what I'm saying.
That's why he's at Arsenal now.
That's why he's at Arsenal.
Anyways, enough of the sports talk.
Yeah.
Let's bring them back in.
Aesthetic, no, but also
aesthetic
again,
productivity.
The aesthetic productivity, the way that I've come to view it now as this new coin term. It's a fantastic term.
Yes. That's what Papertrails is about.
This is what it's all about, you know. A lot of it is really and truly you enjoying the process. And I think for me, when you talk about collaborations with friends and stuff like that, for me, I feel like I work better in a group than by myself. Mainly because I like to bounce ideas off of this, and I like to have that something or someone that I can be like, okay, is this a good idea or not? Because when I feel like it's not really, then that's when the procrastination occurs and the fears and all this kind of stuff. But for me, I feel like when he was talking about how there would be like writing communities and this and that, and where there would be in a Zoom and then everyone kind of minimizes the Zoom thing and then they just all write, but everyone's in the call. They get more done.
Accountability.
And I was kind of like, oh, that's you know what I mean? Sometimes you need those kind of communities, you know?
Yeah. Funnily enough, we're doing that now with the fitness.
Yeah.
We have a group chat. We got a little chat with our friends.
Yeah.
And now everyone's got I think it's a good idea. I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
Where every week, one person has to be the lead of the group saying, yo, everyone, you need to fix up. Do this. So, like, I've been the lead this week, the first week. So I've been posting like recipes, like easy recipes, very easy recipes. And I just encouraging my friends to get on board with it, hit the gym, think about things in a positive way. So and then next week Sharks is on the road, so I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're all trying to keep each other accountable for that. Because for me, before we started doing that, and I was struggling with fitness a bit, like the last few months, I was thinking about hiring a personal trainer. Yeah. But then I was like, because I've like helped people lose weight before, and like, I know what I'm doing in the gym, you know, but I've struggled with that accountability side of it. So I was thinking, get a personal trainer just for accountability. Like, he's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be paying him. Yeah. And if I'm not then there, he's just gonna be chilling. Yeah. So like I thought about that, but now like this is working better for me. I actually had an appointment with a personal trainer. Yeah. And because of this week was going pretty well. It's funny because one week in it, you're like, yeah, man, everything's going right. Yeah. Yeah, but next week, who knows? Yeah. But I cancelled the personal trainer appointment. I was like, I don't want to spend that money. I can do it myself. But it's actually been working. So as long as it keeps working, there's no point in changing it, you know? But yeah, I thought the accountability side of things is massive.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But in terms of in terms of having fun, because I was going to ask you, in terms of retail, how do you envision yourself enjoying the process and like while you're working there anyway?
You know what? This might just be a side note, but retail is wild. Yeah. In terms of like when you hear so many stories, or like different people just having different conversations in thing. Majority is like, I would say people just come and then they're always talking crap about one person. Funny enough.
Wait. Who's people? Your colleagues or customers?
No. The customers.
Talking crap about other people?
Like, no, what I mean is they'll come in and they'll always have one person to talk about. Every single customer has someone, which is weird. Because it's like two people come in, I can't believe she did this. And then they leave. And then someone else comes, they're like, could you believe she did that? And then they leave. And then
a film.
And the whole time it's just like someone else. I'm thinking, yo, like, does anyone have real friendships out there?
Yeah.
But the good thing is with kind of retail, it's kind of like, it's relaxed in the sense that I can like plan stuff in and around, you know, I just bring a notebook with me. Yeah. And then I just write away, really. Like either ideas.
Or in your specific job now. Was it like that in your old job?
Yeah, there as well, really. So you just kind of have like more time to kind of, I guess, pursue kind of stuff that you like, and I kind of like that environment that gives me stuff like that. So I don't know if I had more of a mentally consuming job, then I would be mentally more burnt out.
With my job,
do you know what I'm saying?
There's days where I'm dreaming about work and it's like negative stuff that I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is not it.
But he was talking about that in the I don't know if it was in the beginning or the end of the book.
Because he's talking about his Christmas shift, I think.
It's where he was looking to change his thing, where he was like, "This isn't fulfilling."
Yeah, and I think he said he was dreaming about, and also he's talking about how some hospitals that are doing it well are making sure that their doctors are well rested, so they don't feel like they
every
might fall
4
asleep
hours
during the shifts
breaks
and yeah. But yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think for me, I bloody loved the book. Like I said, I finished it in a day. I was like, let me space it out a little bit. But it was some good stuff, man. Some good crack. It was the level of, like I said, the what do you call it? Aesthetic productivity.
Man from Halsden says that's some good crack.
You know, some good crack. Halsden isn't real, man. I'll be honest, man. Halsden,
man.
You know, usually you just know it's just guys that kind of wee on the walls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
here it was women as well, man. That surprised me. I had to take a double take.
That is crazy.
I was like, "You're doing this?" God damn, man. It wasn't right, man. It wasn't okay. You know what I mean? On the day where kids were walking around, it was just right there. But yeah, nah, what the hell, man? Why do you have to bring you to Halsden?
you ran it there yourself, brother.
Nah, you mentioned that place, my guy.
Nah, please. You said crack.
But, nah. So basically, for all the, new termed based aesthetic productivity guys out there, this is definitely a good book to grab. Especially if you're someone that's trying to start out, or if you are someone that's already doing it, it doesn't feel like they need that push to continue going.
For me, the book is for the serial procrastinators. Anyone who struggles with procrastination, which is a lot of people nowadays. All of us, our attention span is cooked in it. Yeah? So like we always push everything back because our attention is going so many different places. He talks about that too. So like if you're a serial procrastinator, pick it up. It's a short book. So he tells stuff in a very good storytelling way. So he keeps your attention. You can pick it up and drop it off at some point. So if there's a call to action, like here's action that you need to do to build a habit, like it's not something too instant. None of these like practical steps are too intensive. So you can go and do those practical steps and take a break from the book if you want, and then come back to it, and it will still be relevant.
Damn right. And one last tip I'll leave with you guys is arranging your environment to help promote whatever you want to do. So that even if it's something like, I don't know, training more in football or something like that, you just leave your football kit next to the door or your shoes.
Put your gym clothes there before you go to the gym.
There, yeah, literally. Putting it somewhere out there, somewhere you can see, that's a lot easier for you to do it. Because I think one of the examples he gave was like he was trying to learn the guitar and the guitar was like somewhere else, and then he put it in front of him on the coffee table, and then afterwards he was like, okay, let me just practice playing it there. So sometimes that's just what you have to do. Just creating that environment for yourselves. And like I said, we're here to gently guide you guys. We're not here to shout, flipping, put a gun to your head and tell you to get out there and start grinding. I mean, you could do it in your own time, but just slowly building the environment around you that you need in order to push and achieve your goals this year.
Aesthetic productivity.
Yeah, right.
And this is the first feel-good book of the year.
Yeah, right.
Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal. So, good book. Recommend it. From perspective of a self-help book, I would say it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, it really surprised me. So, when it comes to critiquing,
I'll give it a 10.
When it comes to critiquing people, you'll give it a 10. Yeah. He's giving it a 10. He's never given it a 10 before.
I've never given it a 10, but I'll give it a 10.
Yeah, so
this
there you go.
I'll go back for it.
Thank you very much for listening. It's been your boys, Shamaki and Mohammed from the Papertrails. And thanks again for tuning in to the Papertrails podcast. This is the first book of the year. We're going to keep on having more books like this, more guests with books, more guests without books. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next
one.
Keep moving, keep growing, keep learning. See you at work.